Counties, Mr. Speaker, are struggling. They carry a lot of work that they do. And even as we speak right now, a lot of devolved functions don't have the resources to be implemented or to be carried out. Money has remained in the national government, and yet resources have been devolved. On that premise alone, I would not be willing to touch whatever it is that has been allocated to the counties, and especially given that even the audits that are forming the basis of the allocation are dated. They are so many years behind time. So we are not even being realistic in the way we are going. Number two, I'm yet to see a formula by which DORA can be revised. And as Senator Kajwang has just observed, that a reduction to the amount of money going to counties is going to cause a difficult situation on the ground. Counties have passed budgets based on the allocations they were given, and now we want counties to go back and supplement those budgets. But even when supplementing the budgets, they have an obligation to be faithful to the law, whereby they can only supplement the budgets by not more than 10% per item. So we're inviting counties to be in a situation whereby they may have to break the law. As regards the decision of Justice Nga, which I allowed, the 3 months within which the reports of the Auditor General should be approved by Parliament are basically cast in stone unless we amend the Constitution. And I think it's time we try to have fidelity to the Constitution so that things can work like clockwork. Because this business of saying that the Constitution is being implemented piecemeal or haphazardly is the reason why this Constitution looks a bit difficult to implement. If we were faithful to the Constitution and implemented it 100%, we'd find ourselves in a situation whereby it has a working mechanism whereby none of its parts is a burden to the other. But even if you come to a situation whereby it's not properly implemented, it's like having a very, very powerful machine. Even a 2,000 monster machine. But the wheels are deflated. That machine cannot work. However hard the engine roars, it cannot work. So let us implement this Constitution fully. And I personally allowed Justice Nga for the ruling he made. It's upon us to pull up our socks. We can apply for some review to institute some structural interdicts whereby the court can maybe give us some dispensation for some time within which we can catch up. But we must focus on dealing with these audits and make sure that the audits are looked at by Parliament within time so that county governments can get their rightful share of the equitable fund. Mr. Speaker, the issues, there have been arguments that our county officials, the governors, the speakers, the clerks, members of national assemblies, the AECs, and what have you, are misappropriating funds and therefore should not be funded. Let us not mix two things. There's law enforcement. Where they misappropriate funds, Article 226, Clause 5 of the Constitution is very clear that anybody who misuses public funds or who under whose care public funds are lost is liable whether they are in office or out of office. Let that be implemented, and let us not get this argument that is usually thrown up that counties are abusing the money they get. Yes, they are abusing the money they get, and the law must take its course. And that's a challenge to our law enforcement, the EACC, the DCI, the judiciary, and others. Let them step up to the plate and make sure that rogue governors, rogue speakers, and any rogue county official is held accountable for the money that the counties lose. And also going forward, Mr. Speaker, in terms of public funds utilized by counties, I think that accounting officers should be appearing before the committees of parliament, not just the governor. And the Auditor General should be ensuring that these accounting officers present their accounts by 30th of September. By end of September, they present their accounts to the Auditor General, and then by 30th of October, the CECs of Finance present their statements also to their global statements to the Auditor General. Generally, you'll find that most audit reports refer to the global report of the CEC Finance and hardly refer to any reports that were delivered by the various accounting officers of the various entities in the county governments. So maybe we should get to a point whereby it's not the governors that we put to task, only governors. We should also put to task these accounting officers to explain how they utilize public funds, so that this blame game that goes on that counties are dysfunctional and what have you do not come up. And that way, maybe the hearings before PIC and the PAC will be able to trace the money to the real people who signed off the checks, other than the person who has political responsibility, being the governor. So I would really plead that as we grill the governors, we should also be able to grill the accounting officers of the various county departments to account for how money is utilized and used. That way we shall be able to go deeper into the counties and demand accountability for cash from each department, and not just waiting for the political responsibility of the governor. Mr. Speaker, I really beg this House to reject this report so that we can go back to the position whereby we had already passed the DORA, and if there has to be any adjustments, the adjustment should come from the budget of the national government, not the budget of county governments, because it is the national government that is holding a lot of money that belongs to counties, like in agriculture. A lot of money is still being held in Nairobi. They have not followed devolved functions, and farmers are not benefiting from the promise of devolution that they would benefit from had the national government devolved the funds that go with the functions. We are having the same with the health sector. The national government continues to hang on to vital services or vital funds that should be providing services at the county level. And so it's really unacceptable that with the national government already holding money belonging to counties, we again want to say that the deficit that has occurred should be shared equally between the counties, or should be shared in some measure between the counties and the national government. I urge this House, and I plead with my fellow members, to reject this mediation report so that the little the counties were getting is not messed up with. Because in some counties, some counties that are even smaller than my own Busia, allocations are very small, and then we are going again to reduce them. I plead with this House, my fellow senators, that we circle our wagons, close ranks, be bipartisan in approach, and shoot down this report, and go back to the position whereby the money that was allocated to the counties is not interfered with. The money is so little, given what the counties need to do. And I reiterate, if there are governors who are messing up with that money, it's not the reason why the money should not be given to county governments. In your own house, for those who still have babies, if you have a maid, and the maid is eating Cerelac that is meant for your child, you don't stop buying Cerelac because the maid eats Cerelac. You deal with the maid. You fire the maid. You don't stop buying Cerelac for your baby because the maid eats Cerelac. So if governors are messing up with the county funds, if county assemblies are messing up with the county funds, let law enforcement do its duty. Let law enforcement intervene and deal with these rogues. But the money that this House allocates for the people on the ground in our counties must remain sacrosanct. It must not be touched, because that is where the rubber meets the road. The national government has a lot of corners where it can get money, where it can make haircuts, and be able to still balance its budget. The county governments, first of all, the money that are going to the county governments, the way it is handled by this House, we don't have cases of budgeted corruption in the DORA. There's no budgeted corruption there. The money is really worked out meticulously, and it is meticulously tied to the needs of counties, almost as a way you prescribe rare medicine for a rare disease. So I really plead with this House that we reject this report, and we make sure that what was allocated to the counties, because it was not based on the current finances of government, it was based on some couple of years back, is not interfered with, and the national government looks for haircuts in other sections, and especially that money that you have refused to devolve. It can look at that and see, because the counties are doing the functions, it can make cuts without crippling its operations. With those few remarks, I ask the majority leader to lead us in rejecting this negotiated position, so that we can fly the flag of devolution high and be able to have some chance at realizing the objectives of devolution. With those few remarks, yes.
Senator Okiyah, are you done?
No, there's a point of order I was raised, so I'm just about to
the Speaker has not allowed Senator Ojwang to, but what is your point of order, Senator Kajwang?
Mr. Speaker, is it in order for Senator Omtatah to direct the leader of majority to take certain actions and make certain decisions? Yet, just this afternoon, he has launched his exploratory committee to be the next president of Kenya. He could just wait to be the president, and then he gives the county more money. So why would he want Senator Cheriot to go and do the right things that will make his president popular and deny him votes? So is it in order for him to shoot himself in the foot on the floor of the House? Or is he taking Kenyans for a ride with his presidential ambitions, Mr. Speaker?
I'm very sure you listened to Senator Okiyah, and as he was just about to close, he made reference to those few remarks. Yet he's been on the floor for more than 25 minutes plus or so. I'm sure even the extent of his directive to the majority leader probably would also be one of those jokes that as a leader, he does it in form of the normal banter. But Senator Okoiti, please conclude so that other members are allowed to speak.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. It is true that I want to be President of the Republic of Kenya. And when I'm President of the Republic of Kenya, things like this will not happen because I will have separated the Treasury from the Ministry of Finance, and the Treasury will be run professionally. And we shall enter an era of balanced budgets. There will be no deficits. With those few remarks, I oppose this bill, this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Senator Omtatah. Senator Osotsi, Godfrey Atieno, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to also comment on this very important bill, the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill 2024 and the Mediation Committee report. Mr. Speaker, just like my two colleagues who have spoken before me, I, from the onset, declare that I am going to oppose this report. Because, Mr. Speaker, I'm in this House because of Article 96 of the Constitution, which is to protect counties and their government. And, Mr. Speaker, we will be setting a wrong precedent as a House, that we pass DORA, and that is one of the major constitutional powers that we have as a Senate. We pass a DORA, and then it is brought back to us to adjust the figures downwards, and we easily agree to that. That, Mr. Speaker, it is not something that we should entertain as a Senate. We are here to protect devolution.